while it took a little bit longer than I would have liked, hashtag you have got to stop doing that. Upgrade season is continuing. What's good, internet? My name is attackslug, and as I said in my new monitor video, I think a month and a half ago, I was trying to find an Nvidia GeForce RTX 3080, and I've been trying all month, and I've been failing all month. I had it in my cart once, and Best Buy wouldn't let me check out. And I've been through all kinds of different Discords and notifiers in my browser, and it just, you can't find one. Unless you want to pay price to scalpers, and don't pay scalpers. It's been nuts. However, when they launched the RTX 3070 last week, I somehow, miraculously, got in an order at Best Buy, and that arrived today. Today's Tuesday, so you're seeing this on a Sunday, I'm pretty sure. So, that being said, it means that my trusty 4-year-old GeForce GTX Gigabyte 1070 WindForce can officially be retired and can go the way of eventually a smaller build of a PC to bring with me to film PC games in other houses with Grim. That's the plan. That's the hope. But I'm not quite there yet. Perhaps next year is the plan for that. But here we have it. Officially, the Nvidia GeForce RTX 3070. It is a hefty boy. It's heavy. It's chunky. So I'm gonna unbox this here and then toss it in this machine and see how things go. I've already done some benchmarks on my current rig, and honestly, some of y'all are gonna say, why in the blue hell are you putting a 3070 into a machine with a 4-year-old motherboard and CPU, which is a i7-5820K, and I understand, obviously that's not what you want to do, but for me, I wanted to get this on the budget this year, so my taxes won't be terrible next year, and then come January, February-ish, then get the motherboard and the CPU. Those new AMD deals look pretty nice to me. That's the plan. And again, I still kind of do want that 3080, so if the rumored 20 gigabyte variant is true, and video cards do retain a bit of value, then a swap there could be in order, and that could happen. But that's not until next year. For right now, Cyberpunk, December, ray tracing. So let's cut this bad boy open. And man, the guy at Best Buy was like, oh, somebody got something nice. And I'm like, yeah. It was by the absolute luck of the draw, because unless you went to a micro center, these were extraordinarily hard to get a hold of online on launch day. That was a little bit ridiculous. Is there a third thing here? Is this just gonna open up on me? Because I cut the two plastic deals. How does this open? Hold on, is there a third plastic deal? No? What direction does this open in? Am I an idiot? Maybe? Yes? Or is this just kind of... Okay. Okay, it does that. That's like... Alright. I was thinking it would open up like the Xbox Series X box opens up. And there she blows. Excellent packaging here for the RTX deals. And yeah, it is a hefty, chonky card. It is a little bit nuts with the whole dual fan thing and all that. It is like solid steel up in here, which is great. And of course it has the wire, because it has the weird power thing in the middle, which is like, all right, yeah. And it comes with the cable to the adapter thing for that, which is fine, but it's still like you only have one pin. Like, all right, for the 3080 and 3090, I get it. You have 2 pins, so you gotta have both pins going into that 112. But if you only have one, then why do you need a thing? Just make it an 8-pin, like, or put it in the back, or, you know. But that's their design. That's Nvidia for you. So yes, tomorrow I will be installing this thing, because it is already late tonight, and I am exhausted. So there you go, 3070, and tomorrow some size comparisons with my current 1070, and then installation and all that good news is happening then. So right after this jump cut, I'll see you there. Alright, I know. The cable management in this case is atrocious. I get it. But this case sits under there. Ain't nobody looking at it. It's not that big of a deal. As long as it works for me, that's fine. Got fans here, bringing it in, fans there, taking it out, there, etc., etc. And this is the 1070 has to come out of here, and this 3070, right over here, has got to go in that spot, and that's the plan. I already did my device driver uninstall, so I am good to go here, just about. And so next year's plan, fingers crossed, is for new CPU, new motherboard, and new power supply. This is $750, but it is a bronze-rated deal. And honestly, if I end up getting that supposed 30, 80, 20 gig variant next year, I'd want to have a much better power supply. But the RAM here can stay because we are still a ways off from DDR5. So here is your side-by-side, and shockingly enough, the 3070 FE is a little bit shorter than what I had on the 1070. I'm kind of surprised by that, but hey, it'll fit in the case. That's kind of all I care about at this point. And this awkward power deal does not make this thing look any better than it already did. But hey, my concerns honestly are the fan shooting up here into where the CPU is, and seeing how that heat transfer works out for the overall case temperature. And if it's bad, I might end up getting an all-in-one cooler for my CPU. We'll see. But it's still early days here with this thing, so I'm going to plug it in and install the drivers and see how things work out. But I'm also concerned about board flex, so I might get one of those little things that holds up the GPU with the weight and all that good stuff. So again, we shall see on that. So let's get into some benchmark numbers here, because from what I've seen from a lot of the larger tech coverage YouTubers, they don't necessarily account for folks having this old of a CPU, even though in real life that does happen. The budget is only so big for individuals each and every year. So on my 1070, Troy Total War has 3 benchmarks. The first one gave me a frame rate of 41, and then 57, and then 53, which honestly is playable in 2024, this kind of game, and what it is, that's fine. Now, this game, my assumption is more heavily CPU bound than GPU bound, and as a reminder, I'm playing at 1440 here, not 1080, even though this video is 1080, these were played and captured on a 1440 monitor. Now, on the 3070 in Troy, we got a jump here. 75, 107, and 95. So even the addition in a game that is mostly CPU bound, we get double the frame rate pretty much in these benchmarks. But again, haven't actually played the game to see how that pairs out in the game itself. I haven't had time. Now, moving on. Wolfenstein Youngblood has a pretty good benchmark here as well, and that on the 1070 gave me a very playable frame rate of 75 in that first benchmark, with obviously no RTX because it was on a 1070, and 86 in that second benchmark. So again, those are fine frame rates at 1440 on a 1070 with this old 5820K. Jumping up with just the standard settings. So this is RTX off, no DLSS, just standard, same exact settings from 1070 to 3070. We get a frame rate on that first benchmark in Wolfenstein of 144 frames. And the second benchmark, the same thing, 144 frames. Now this monitor is a 144 hertz, which means it can display all 144 of those frames, which is awesome, fantastic, love it, right? But that's just standard. Now, you're not buying this card to play games at standard, hopefully. You want to play them with RTX and DLSS. So, with those same ultra settings, RTX on with DLSS, we get a frame rate of 133 in that first benchmark and 101 in that second benchmark. Again, that's awesome, because I'm playing on a 4-year-old CPU with this 3070 doing those frame rates, and I'm loving it. Now, I also tried maxing it out, so past Ultra, every possible setting on the highest, and I turned off the DLSS, and I turned off the Nvidia adaptive shading. So just give me all the raw pixels. Give me maximum raw pixels. And I had a frame rate of 95 on the first bench and 98 on the second. So that 3070 is putting in the work with an older CPU and still well above 60, which awesome. But I hear you saying those are benchmarks. What about some actual gameplay? How's that going to pair out? Well, I bought a copy of Control Ultimate Edition, a very demanding game, and on the 1070 gave me a frame rate between 30 and 35, right? Just ultra settings, and that was my frame rate, which again, I played it on the Xbox One X. That's kind of a console frame rate, and it looked better, but again, you're buying this thing to hopefully play it well beyond that. And so Control, with those same ultra settings, but no RTX and no DLSS, is going to get you between 70 and 85 frames playing the game, and I am on a G-Sync monitor here, so if there were any kind of frame tearing, I didn't see it, because I wouldn't see it, because it's on a G-Sync monitor. But that is an awesome frame rate, love that. Now, turning on DLSS, still no RTX, just DLSS gives you well over 100 frames on Control. Playing it looked gorgeous, ran awesome, love that. But obviously, you buy this card for the RTX. So it has two modes. I only tried RTX on high. And RTX high with DLSS gives you between 65 and 80, kind of in the 70 range for the average frame rate, where it looks amazing, plays amazing, and I have no complaints on that. But I thought to myself, alright, let's try one more thing. Let's keep the RTX on high and turn off the DLSS, the deep learning super sampling, and it gave me a frame rate between 30 and 40. So back to that console frame rate between 30 and 40 with RTX and without DLSS on the maximum settings. But again, that's, as someone who played it on consoles, I'm used to that frame rate. I could play that, but I don't know why you would. You want to turn on all the features and play it around 70 frames and enjoy the game and the DLC and all of that. If you haven't played Control, definitely play Control. I'm going to play it again, and I haven't played the DLC yet, so I'm looking forward to playing that DLC. Now, one notable exception I did not benchmark here or try to get into for gameplay was the Microsoft Flight Simulator. I don't have the drive space right now. Right now, I'm playing a bunch of games that eat up a lot of drive space, like Baldur's Gate, and my video game SSD is only a half of a terabyte. So, you know, space is limited, and well over 100 gigs for that flight sim game, and it's a bit much for me right now. I'm gonna try it eventually and see how it deals on my 5820K, but right now, space is at a premium, and I got things to play. Very curious to see how Cyberpunk, which is the whole reason I got this thing in the first place, plays in about a month and change here. So, fingers crossed it will actually hit its release date of December 10th. We hope, and on the PC with RTX on this older CPU will hopefully run good. But again, the plan next year is to get one of them new AMD deals and have fun that way, and then have a good machine for the next 4 years or so for another upgrade, because that's kind of where I'm on with my path and my budget. And again, if we did not have two consoles launching next week, then I would have bought that CPU and that motherboard and everything else this year. But there's only so much room for everything with what I do, so that's kind of the plan there. But video games, play them. Hardware, I love it. Gonna keep getting it. I'm attackslug. Thanks for watching. More videos right here. Tune in. I'll see you then, and I'm out.